fear grips the country. Not only fear of communist infiltration, but fear of being suspected of communist leanings. It is a climate that makes possible the rise of Joseph McCarthy, first-term senator from Wisconsin.
Even if there are only one communist in the State Department, that will still be one communist too many.
What we call McCarthyism is really political slander, and it didn't begin with McCarthy. He did not invent it. There are lots of traditions in American history where people accuse another party of being treasonous.
I get the impression that while you are quite an actor, you play for a laugh. I don't think you have any conception of the danger of the Communist Party.
Until this moment, Senator, I think I never really gauged your cruelty or your recklessness.
It's an interesting psychology about why these well-born people become the targets of such wrath. And Joe McCarthy is very clear about this. There's no one he despises more than the men in striped pants born with silver spoons in their mouths. And he has in mind Alger Hiss and Dean Acheson, prominent figure in government. And ultimately, the suspicion is meant to be cast on Roosevelt himself. And there's the suggestion that an effete group of elite Protestants has betrayed the country and fatally weakened it.
What McCarthyism really means is that you take a real situation of espionage and you make it murky and you use it as a political tool. Add to that the sort of ambiguous role of J. Edgar Hoover, who helped supply McCarthy with some of his information. And this works out in sort of odd ways. There is, for example, a firing of homosexuals in government service, and the reason is that people said, well, they could be blackmailed into revealing secrets because we would reveal their identity.
Even unions can be red-baited. Walter Reuther makes himself president of the union partly by purging the communists from the union. But within a few short years, people are calling him a dangerous radical. And I've read Walter Reuther's FBI file. It's a massive thing. It's the biggest waste of government resources you ever saw, because what they do is collect any little tidbit of information that can portray Walter Reuther as a radical. He's not. He's a moderate left.
If you think yourself back to that period and try to figure out what is the right way to deal with this, it's clearly not the way McCarthy did it, to make it this public thing where if you wave a piece of paper and say, I have hundreds of names of spies in the State Department, you're trying to attack foreign policy, but you're not attacking it head on. I think that's the damage of McCarthy, is that he diverts the attention from the real issues. The real issues are the foreign policy itself.
And McCarthyism, after all, was one of the first signs of the Cold War in this country from the point of view of civil liberties. And crisis that can be Cold War is always a convenient pretext for doing things which in times of peace would not be acceptable.